We are recording.
We're live. Thank you very much. And just so you know, Lillian, I'm going to do the minutes and financials, and then I'm going to turn off the recording and do an executive session for a bunch of stuff. And so I'll tell you when, okay?
Very good.
Okay, thank you. All right, good morning, everybody, and appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. We have a guest here today, Nicole Day. Everybody knows Nicole. She's here to talk about her quarterly update, and we'll get to that in just a few minutes. Before we do that, I'd like an approval for the draft minutes of January 28th.
So moved.
Second, okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like the treasurer's report. Glenn, anything we need to cover there?
No, everything is just as presented in your
Okay.
documents. There's nothing really to cover over.
Okay, and the loan report.
Okay, on the loan report, on the IDA, the loan report is looking pretty good,
Yep.
in my opinion. The first one where there's a balance due under the IDA, that company just made a lump sum of they're technically still on a deferral. They were one of the ones who had requested to go back on deferral. So they're technically on that. They made a lump sum of 4 payments. You can read it that they're 3 or 4 behind, or they're still on the grace period of their deferral.
Yep.
The next one down, that's there was a potential for a deal with that business, and during that time period, I had said, don't worry about this. Let's get through this project. Well, that fell apart in early January, and I've just got to touch base with them to figure out what's going on.
Mhm.
The last one, is an issue,
Yep.
and Evan's going to be following up with our attorney on that one.
Does Evan know that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he came to me with it the other day, asking if we can go ahead with it or not, or getting a response from Carly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glenn, back on the treasurer's part on the bottom with a summary of pipeline expenses.
Yes.
We are incurring some Cedarwood expenses every month.
Cedarwood gets reimbursed.
We get,
Oh, yeah.
we get reimbursed.
Oh, sorry, Delaware Operations, and I don't know, we've been with Cedarwood and not Delaware Operations for 3 years. And so it shouldn't say Delaware Operations on the left-hand side.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But the Cedarwood bill of $3,500 or whatever it is every month, do we then divide that in half and bill that to the respective industries?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And that's why there's a lag time you'll see with what was paid. The last one was like November 20th. It's because Cedarwood's a month or more late with their billing. Then by the, as soon as we get it, TAB bills the industries, and then it's another month or 2 before they pay.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody's
All right.
60 to 90 days.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. That's correct.
Yeah. And any more questions on that? No. Okay. On the LDC side, the first one, they're actually only late for February. It's down there. The amount due is for 2 months, but they're only late for February.
Okay.
They made a payment in January. Delaware River Basin Stone, yes, they're 2 payments behind. Part of that is they missed one during coming back from the deferral.
Yeah.
So that's one of the payment, and they're technically due for this month. And then moving on down, let's see, so it would be Oh, leather stocking timber is current.
I saw that.
Yeah,
Good. Whoever
Okay.
made that phone call, thank you.
he just caught up, felt like it.
Mhm.
I shouldn't have used their name, sorry. The next one below that, we sent a certified letter to. There was some family medical issues with them. They've kind of dropped off the face of the earth. We did send a certified letter. It was delivered on the 17th. We haven't heard anything yet.
Where is that business located? Is that Deposit?
No, that is Harpersfield.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All
It
right.
was in Stanford. They had a business location in Stanford.
well, no, up on the hill. Yes, they had a business location in Stanford. We're moving up on the hill, which is technically Harpersfield.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're at that end of the county. So, we've reached out to them. This was a very nice first letter. It was, hey, we understand there's some issues. Please come in and talk to us.
Yep, okay. And the last one, are they getting any closer to their land sale?
Do you have an update on?
Oh yeah, last time I talked to them, they said a check's on the way, and that was
That was
Months ago.
in mid-January.
like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, the post office is slow.
yeah.
They really are. He sent some tax returns in October and the IRS still hasn't doesn't have them yet.
Oh, and then the one just above that, I know it's a small amount, but they had been 3 months behind and they just sent a double payment just a week or so ago. I still remember doing the
Is
check,
that
so.
interest only? That payment amount doesn't look like it's P and I based on the balance.
Yeah, that must, yeah, you know what, Scott, I apologize. That is from when they were on interest only. What they're paying now is not that amount.
Okay. Any other questions on the loan report? And could I have, I need any questions or any comments on the invoices?
Motion to approve?
Okay, all three reports?
Yes.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, at this point, I have a motion, someone will go into executive session.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Lillian, can you turn it off? We're going to go into
Tim,
exec-
for the recording, what the reason is for the executive session?
personal financial information
And then negotiation.
and negotiations. You,
You still on I-95?
We are recording and I'm on I-95 in North Carolina.
all right. Okay, we're live again. We need to have motions for 3 activities. One is for response to the consent order for DEC on the pipeline.
Yeah, and that was a motion to comply with the consent order pending ability to get the engineering report done.
Right.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, thank you. The second one was the rental, level of rents on the Hidden Inn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Because I'm the banker. It's currently involved.
Okay, got that, Ted? Okay, and the third one was for the
A loan for Echo
loan to
Brakes.
ACO. Yeah.
I'll make that motion. Okay.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, Wow. Sheffield, I'll back up to Sheffield Estates. The saga continues. We're waiting for information that's to be released by the state on March 4th from a FOIL request for documentation on the homeowners association and all of that fun stuff. So we've had meetings and conference calls with the attorneys. Last conference call, I had 3 different attorneys on the phone at once, so it's getting to be a lot of thick soup. So there's really nothing to do on that until after March 4th. So. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Glenn? Or?
No,
Okay.
still just work in progress.
It's in lawyer never land.
Yeah.
Glenn, do you want to talk about Hughes Energy?
Okay, yeah, so that was why I asked Andy to come. I'm just gonna do a brief intro and then he'll talk about where they stand with permitting, site plan, all that type of stuff. So Hughes Energy, and I sent some information out in the packet regarding their project. Essentially, I've got some pictures just to give you a little better idea. This is from their site plan. You're just gonna have to take a look and pass them around. This is what a proposed facility would look like. This is where it would sit on the property. So basically Hughes Energy, basically they would be dealing with MSW to divert it from just landfill or divert portions of it from landfill. They would process it ultimately into a fiber that could be pelletized and used for burning. And otherwise minimize the waste stream by, up to potentially 80%, or at least I guess their diversion from a landfill could be up to 80%. That's if all the other materials they extract from it during processing, they're able to get rid of in some other manner. They're talking about a roughly $80 million project, 115,000 square feet of processing space, 9,500 of office, 65 jobs, I think is about where they would be. We've had discussions so I'm dealing with a gentleman by the name of Jatish Shaw, who's the CEO over in London. So I've only met him by Zoom. We've had a number of conversations. Joe Scott and I are from Hodgson Russ. We're in on the last one. They're potentially interested in both a pilot and possibly solid waste disposal bonds, which is another form of tax exempt bond that would potentially be available through the IDA. Whereas with industrial revenue bonds, there's typically a $10 million cap for solid waste disposal. There is no cap. So we could do any percentage of the bonds from 0 to nearly 100%. So where we're at right now on that is they're working with some equity investors and just starting the process of financing. Just a little bit more detail. This facility is located very close to the border between Delaware and Greene County. Looks to be, I don't know, several hundred yards from the border. It's about 3.9 miles southeast of Grand Gorge. And they're just starting the site plan process, and I think I'll let Andy take it from there for an update.
Yeah, so they actually came to us 5 or 6 months ago with the Town of Roxbury Planning Board, which I work with through the Town Planning Advisory Service. And they had proposed basically the same dimensions as you see in those items that pass around on a different lot, which was on the Green Dell Sanitation Recycling Center. And I'm not sure the relationship you guys have had with them. I know they were in a meeting.
Yeah, about a year
A year
ago,
ago.
oh, a little more than a year
Yeah.
ago, the owners of Greendale were looking for some support to do a feasibility study in conjunction with Hughes Energy, and we didn't bite at that time, neither did Greene County, and then it ultimately panned out that the site wouldn't really suit them anyways.
Yeah, so they came to us for site plan review on that Green Dell Sanitation lot, owned by the Comptons, and we had probably 3 or 4 meetings, and the process was, moving along. But then DEP stepped in and said, "Well, this is within 1,000 feet of the Schoharie Reservoir, so it's not allowed." Was not allowed. So it kind of went silent for a couple months, and then they came back to us and proposed this, what you're seeing there, on a new lot, which is directly northwest of the Green Dell lot. It's a 39.6 acre parcel. They're looking to use about 6 acres of that. Anticipated construction time 6 months. It's off of it's basically between Johnson Hollow Road and Fanny Brook Road. It would be 2 buildings, like Glenn mentioned. 115,000 square foot processing facility where there are autoclaves in which they use to get the fibrous substance, turn the waste into fibrous substance. Would be, I think there's 2 of them. And then office space, which would be 9,500 square feet. Essentially, during this initial process, we had notified certain agencies along with them, Hughes Energy and DEC, I'm sorry, came back and requested to be the lead agency for the secret review process, which we don't see very often, but because it's so close to the reservoir, and it's kind of a unique proposal that they're doing, they stepped in. So that's kind of the latest as far as DEC is running with the secret process. Besides DEC, they have to get 6 other permits of approval for their solid waste management facility. They'll need air state facility registration permits, the state pollutant discharge elimination system permit. They'll need a highway work permit from DOT. This newer proposal is actually, the road frontage will be a little bit easier. There was a very serious concern about the current driveway that Greendale had with the angle of 30 there. So that's slight relief in that regard. They'll need a watershed protection review. Town of Prattsville sewer connections, what they're proposing, because it's so close to the sewer connection. I think it was with under 100 feet, if I recall, the last meeting. So they would work with Prattsville on that. And then we'll need an Army Corps engineer wetland permit.
So you're saying
this will happen tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
we're looking at a 6-year project here.
yeah, it's there's a lot.
I
There's a lot.
smell another Bel Air on the horizon.
It's been interesting. I mean, they've had a lot of representation. I mean, they bring 10 people to every meeting. They were running pretty fast at first with it, and then we haven't really. They proposed this at a meeting to us, and we haven't really heard anything in a couple months, to be honest with you. But it does sound like, they're still communicating with all those agencies we just discussed. And that's kind of where we're at this point. I don't know how much more you'd like to know. I know the Roxbury Planning Board's initial concerns were, the access, the amount of traffic it's going to bring into the community. I can break that down, those numbers if you're interested. The noise kind of pollutant aspect, but they minimize, there's not much of a concern there. They have to go through the noise ordinances and permitting through DEC and stuff.
I'm shocked Roxbury would allow it there, but how will it compete with the composting plant for the county?
It won't. In conversations with them, with Mr. Shaw, is they have commitments. I don't know what that means. I haven't seen them in writing, whatever. But for either 75 to 80% of the waste that they would need to operate this, there's already interest from counties downstate in the Hudson Valley who are currently shipping their waste out to the Seneca landfill. This is less than or right around half the distance.
Right.
With that would be a competitive alternative.
Is this concept in use someplace in the country already?
Not in this
That's
country.
part of the, was another, I wouldn't say concern, but it is a concern, that it's not yet legal what they're producing isn't legal to use in the United States. They have facilities in the UK, and so they're coming across as pretty confident that they're going to be able to do so by the time the facility would be up and running. But their plan, which I think the location is part of that, is that they're close enough to shipping ports that they could just send it back over to the UK. But yes, obtaining enough MSW is a big part of it as well. And they want to, they say they burn up to 20 tons an hour. So they need a lot of MSW to do that. So yeah, the fact that it's not yet
They don't
legalized
burn it.
is a
They claim that they steam it,
They, break it
it's,
down through steam.
yeah.
but still.
So it's different in the sense that the Delaware County one isn't like the fiber that will be coming out of this will be much more refined, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Do they need, because in the information that I saw online, they talk about a natural gas line.
Right.
Where are they gonna get their natural gas in Foxville?
They propose, I believe they're proposing tanks.
Okay, so they're talking to
Yeah, they're gonna,
XNG or whatever.
they're gonna be putting in, I don't have that,
Okay.
unfortunately, but yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense for them to do something like that, because they need.
Farm trucks driving on Route 30, can you imagine that?
Well, along with the big, huge tractor trailer loads of garbage.
Right.
Yeah.
Picture all those
It's a-
semi-trucks that you see.
Oh, I can't wait for these public hearings.
Well, it's gonna take them 10
Yeah,
years just to
but
get through the red tape.
Yes, but
40
the
trucks
trucks
a
on the
day.
road are only gonna be in Delaware County for 100
Right,
yards.
that's far.
Yeah.
They're coming into Greene County.
They're
into
coming all
Delaware,
through.
turn it right back around and go around.
But look, I like this project. Municipal solid waste is a huge issue that we just pay no attention
That
to
was your
whatsoever.
master.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
A slightly different subject, but, or solution, but yes. And I think it's potentially a great project for the IDA to be involved in.
I just, it'll be a long time down the road, and I don't know if this board will still be the same or not, but
I just
We
can't
might be
wait to see all
retired
the
by
gray
then,
ponytails
but-
get up in arms again.
Well, but at the end of the day, what they're doing is taking garbage that is otherwise gonna be legally polluting some area and dealing with it in a way that reduces that pollution by 80%.
Oh, I agree.
the ocean lovers are gonna say it's not gonna end up in our ocean now, it's gonna end up where it needs to be taken care of. So there'll be a lot of people in favor of this, no
Well,
matter
to
what.
sell it, you've got to be able to say that the product coming out is used for something else that produces more. And every time it goes through a process, you're left with less and less waste. Because this places in Seneca Meadows, that's now the highest point around out there. You're driving along, you look up there, there's a big mountain. Make it into a ski hill next. It's huge.
The main thing that they use it for in the UK is pellet stove, like to burn it for heat. Could be a bonus for this area.
Right, yeah.
You know?
If they're less than 275 a ton, I'll buy them. At least 1 ton to try it out.
We've had experience with pelletized.
Yes, we
Yeah, but
did.
this is different.
Oh, right. This smells like garbage, not like pot.
If I may, years ago, back in the good old 1980s, and I'm almost old enough to remember that now. Kingston, New York did a similar idea where somebody came in and sold them a project that was a bond issue through the IDA, and they were recycling the old milk cartons. They were separating the cardboard from the wax. And they located the puppy right next to the Kingston post office in the center of the city. And when the economy turned down in 87, 88 and 89, that sucker went bankrupt. The bonds were zeroed out, and there was pieces of cardboard blowing all over the middle part of Kingston down near the post office. I'd really like to see one of these things in operation or have a complete idea that this puppy's going to go through. I just got a, kind of a bad feeling about this thing. That's just me. I have nothing else to go by except that I tried to buy some of those bonds because ultimately they would have had to have been paid off when they were zeroed. But, I just think this thing is a little dicey right now. And I can't see us like tagging our name on it. But that's, again, it's a group discussion.
In fairness to Mike, I think that it is prudent to play for 2 round-trip tickets to the UK for Mike and I to check this place out and make sure it's operable, okay, and see how it functions in an environment. So that, we've never seen it here. I would love to see some major industry come into the area, especially my area, but we don't know the impacts because we haven't seen it here. Doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It just means that, it's kind of foreign to us, and I'd like to know a little bit more about it.
Yeah, and I can request information, about these plants in operation.
Well, that's fine and it's interesting, but this is a long-term thing down the road. Are they asking for our support right now?
No, this is just an FYI
Yeah,
that this is something that's going on.
No, I think it's a great project.
Right,
We should
And time
continue.
will tell if they can get through the red tape.
right.
Good.
Some of us may be retired by then. So.
Yeah.
Although Jim never retires. So.
Yeah, please.
And then I can certainly keep you posted if anything else.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. Then I'll do the same as we
Feel
go.
free to reach out.
Were they also seeking approval from the EPA for that as a heat storage?
Yeah, well, they,
To be able to burn the
To
pellets.
be able to in this country?
Yeah.
which
So that's
again,
ongoing, some study or something, I thought.
So, yeah, they'd have to test it, make sure they measure what particulates are actually coming out. Yeah,
Great.
they were making it seem like it was gonna happen, but.
Right.
When you're trying to convince investors, you try to make it
Yeah.
appear like it's gonna work.
It's good stuff.
okay, thanks, Andy.
Yeah.
I noticed
Thank
they're
you.
well funded.
Yeah.
I see they got Lloyd's of London investing money. in
There was
their
a video
operation.
that they showed us, I remember, at that one point too, it was like a nice 20-minute long video, so, you get on there, he goes through the entire, a nice Irishman, so he'll go through with this Irish accent and tell you all about the process and fine detail, and I believe it's on their website.
Oh, okay,
If
all
not,
right, I'll look for
I'm
that.
sure I can reach out to one of them and they could email it to me.
Great, thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, the Walton meat processing,
Yeah, so there's another potential project, nothing coming up for any action. The IDA would most likely not be a financer in this project. But it would occur on property that the IDA currently owns. It was previously cited as a potential site of a slaughterhouse. Jim, Evan, and I had a conference call with the owner, and I committed to contacting CWC on his behalf, which would be the primary lending institution. They would be contributing, I didn't do the numbers, but roughly 40% through cash, rest through financing, and some potentially available through a grant. Those are all things that are in process right now. No real action. I have looked at some financials, which were separate from what I sent you, I believe. And I have some questions there regarding supply and also markets. So both ends of the spectrum, which I've been working on an email with some input on this guy for about 2 days now. And haven't gotten much beyond the opening salutation. So
You're struggling with that?
Oh, I got that part. That was easy.
you're too busy getting fined.
Yeah, exactly. Things just keep popping up. And so basically, this is just to let you know that there is potentially a project on the horizon for this purpose. Still very much in the information gathering stage, and that's about it. And Jim, I know you've worked with him more. Do you want to?
No, I think he's sort of real. He's been involved in the meat industry for a lot of years, worked for the federal government. He's as an inspector, he's got the credentials, certainly. I think Nicole can help out on this. I think there certainly is a need for another facility locally.
Absolutely. There's
Because,
definitely a need for a slaughterhouse.
I mean, Nicole could help with a lot of information on this project, and because she's through the consulting side, has a lot of connections and has been a pretty close feel for the industry. So I'm sure, I'm offering you services, but I'm sure Nicole would be willing to.
I'd be happy to have
Yeah, I'll
conversations or to verify or validate
Yeah.
or,
some numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
or compliance questions,
Yes.
or reality of compliance questions.
Mhm. Well, the gentleman is a former USDA
That
inspector.
doesn't always matter.
I know. Yeah. But out in California.
But I'm
so.
respected. I mean, that's.
Yeah, but I think we've got a good resource right here to take it.
Okay.
So, excuse me, they're talking about locating this in Walton somewhere?
Yes.
In the industrial park on the property that we own there.
Okay, and then is that where the feed lot and everything is going to be?
They're
Talking
not
about
gonna
a feed lot.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. That's one of my questions because there is no room for a feed lot there. He mentioned holding the animals on site for a month to do finished feeding, and yeah, that's not able to happen there. It's a 2-acre parcel.
Mhm.
It's called density.
Eh,
It's called a high density operation, so they don't walk much, and then you got a better grain to weight ratio.
Because they can't move.
So is the-
Right, so 3,500 animals, well, no, I guess it would
It's
be
only
less than
5 a
that.
day, it's 25 a week, it's not many at all.
Yeah, 50 a day.
Because I'm actually in the process of designing a slaughterhouse, and we looked at 20,000 square foot, and we're actually landing at about 28,000 square foot. This is in Washington County. It's going to be the largest in the state. And we'll be moving 200 animals at the highest capacity
Per day,
per week.
per
So-
week,
Per week. That's the largest in the state.
and that's 28,000 square feet.
And that's about 28,000 square foot. And that's not including the holding pens
Right,
outside, the humane handle
yeah,
holding pens.
yeah,
That's actually the building itself,
okay.
just for scale purposes.
I don't know if we have that many details around to do that.
Well, no, this is not intended nor designed to be a Delaware County slaughterhouse.
I know,
Even still, I don't know, that there's
right,
the
but
capacity of
if
animals.
you're gonna be trucking them in, wouldn't you wanna pick a place close to the highways like Hancock or Deposit or Sydney that had a highway that make transport easier?
I think Sydney or Deposit's a good spot. Walton's even better.
So the Tiberio project is not going through?
I haven't heard from Tiberio at least 4 to 6 months.
Oh, wow, okay.
I just doubt it. His project was priced out of what he could finance, even with support.
Okay, we'll move along to the loan fund transfer item.
There is one more project that wasn't on the agenda. If I could just put something in there real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay, so another possible project coming down is a little, and we're just asking to see if you guys would be interested or not, because it might be out of what we usually do. It's a Montessori private school in Bovina. There is someone, he's a CEO of another business too. And he's pretty analytical. He has a property. He doesn't have the property, but he knows the property and a willing buyer, willing seller for right now $1.9 million. We said CWC, that's asking. We said, this is definitely a CWC first project. Or if it's bankable, he is working with another bank. And there are certain other things. The property is going to be an LLC, and then the school is going to be a separate LLC, both for profit. So at least that fits us. And when school is not in session, he'll use that property for corporate events, Airbnb, stuff like that. One thing he talked about getting the pool up and going, and then it'll be a community pool when school is not in session. What am I missing here? I know I'm missing a lot. There's a lot. And he just wants to know, is this something that we could possibly, not for a lot, maybe we help them buy the Montessori specific equipment. And one good thing about a Montessori school is it's meshed ages. So there's less overhead for teachers, classrooms. He's looking to put, it could be 6 to 10-year-olds in the same classroom, same teacher, so he doesn't have to really put out a lot. And it's pretty measured right now. Another good thing about private school, they pay tuition, so he's not even going to start this thing, which he does want to start possibly this fall. Until he has people signed up, most likely a deposit. He is new to the area. He's kind of one of these transplants, I think, from COVID. And he has other parents, some transplants, some local, who have expressed an interest in doing a private school, even maybe enough to invest in it themselves, because that's part of his startup plan is about $400,000 in family investment. And then, that definitely helps retain those kids, if they have stock in it. And yeah, he just wanted us to come here and fill you guys out. Do you think that's in our wheelhouse of something we could fund even for, a low amount once, it's phase 1 or 2 or 3 of the project?
Yeah, so more so than direct funding, he's also interested in if we would support the project in general as a show of community-based support for the project. As far as the funding goes, the funding that we had preliminarily talked about was one of two scenarios, or maybe a combination of both, is if there was a grant opportunity available to them, would we provide the line of credit to, for the grant amount? So let's say he gets a $75,000 grant in support of this project. Would we provide him a $75,000 loan of credit with an assignment of the grant proceeds? So there's that short-term component. Longer term, there might have been like a 20,000, I think was a number. Am I mixing my projects up?
No, he mentioned, you know.
Yeah,
in the
around a
meeting,
$20,000 loan.
possibly up to 50.
Yeah. After somebody else takes all the collateral.
We'll listen like we always do when something goes on.
Right. We'll listen.
But yeah, so essentially you would treat a Montessori school, privately owned for-profit school, essentially as any other for-profit business. I think that's what Evan is asking for now.
Yeah, we definitely would.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would
So it's just the same as any for-profit business. If it makes sense
Right.
and we
Yep.
can be involved, we would be willing to listen. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
We're gonna have Bovina right on the map.
When
That's good.
my brother went to Delhi, he lived at Suits Us Farm in Bovina. That place was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
You ever
It
play
turned-
jump rope with Christmas lights in the dark?
No, but
No.
it sounds interesting.
Oh, it was different.
it turned into a different place too. Okay, well, that's good. I think it's intriguing. Glenn, loan transfer.
Yeah, this is just a temporary temperature check from the board. We've talked for the last year, possibly two, about the IDA getting out of the loan fund business entirely. And just Tab and I were talking about the audit the other day, and it just put it into my mind. Is that something that the board would be interested in me discussing with the auditors, the process of transferring our current IDA loan funds over into the LDC and just having the IDA completely get out of the lending business and do all of our lending through the LDC?
What difference would it make?
'Cause
Is there advantages to it or?
No, I think we're kind of walking on the edge.
Yeah, I
by
mean,
doing the
they're,
lending through the IDA anyway.
yes, IDAs are, supposed to be not terribly involved in that thing. They're trying to phase it out. And that way it kind of separates our functions, makes the IDA more traditional, bonds, pilots, property redevelopment, the LDC just solely be a financing arm or
So
financing entity.
what of our IDA loan dollars are supposed to be repaid because of the program we got the money from?
Right now, zero.
Now's the time to do it.
Yes,
Let's figure that out.
yes. Yeah.
That's what the
We've
governor
been
wants.
doing this over time. Anything
Yeah.
we've been doing has all been LDC. And we're at a point now where we can just cut bait.
Great.
And we're not doing anything different than we're doing, no, we're just different.
It would just be a
Different.
different
Whatever it is.
entity.
And
Yeah,
then King Andy doesn't have a say in it as much as he would
Right,
just as a straight IDA.
that's ground for me to agree to it right now.
so all right, I just want to mention that as we move forward with I'll bring back what the process and time frame would be.
So that's
What dollar amounts were we looking at?
So we've got $1,000,001.
Yeah, so basically it would be under the treasurer's report for the IDA. It would basically be the what? $84,000 in available funding. And I'm gonna say 250, probably around 500,000 of outstanding loans.
Even though there's $1,000,001 of outstanding loans in the IDA.
Is it that much?
Yeah, I don't know, it depends on whether the Excel spreadsheet added it right or not. I know Tab would have done that, right? But if you prepared this, I guess I'm questioning.
Well, I'm glad you had me look at this. The CRH line of credit is 10,000, not 70. So not that changes it all
Now
that
down to
much.
60 grand.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I wasn't thinking of the Millennium Fund. The Millennium Fund would have to stay under the IDA. So and those are the majority of the big loans that show up on the report.
Right, like Integrated Woods money was out of Millennium.
Yes.
And some of these others, yeah, okay, well, but still, your point is that it's 600 grand.
Yeah. 600 of outstanding.
Let's explore doing that, so that'll be a Joe Scott question and
And the auditor question.
auditor, yeah, and an S question.
Yeah, I think it'll be cleaner.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of Millennium.
Okay. Any other old or new business for the IDA?
We do have to discuss possible future loan funds. I thought that's what the fund transfer was gonna be.
No, we'll talk about that under LDC.
That sounds right.
Okay, anything else for the IDA, old or new business?
Oh, just quickly, Hollow did get their grant. You know, we approved them for a loan for their new project back in October. Their grant was approved. We closed on the loan. That project will be moving forward. DRNC is current. We all know what that means. The rest can wait.
Need a motion for adjournment?
Okay, yep, motion to
So
adjourn,
moved.
please. Second, thank you. I'll open the meeting for the LDC. Can I have an approval for the minutes from January 29th?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like a motion to approve the 3 financial reports.
You're up, Mike.
No, Mike doesn't approve financials.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we have a item on the agenda that says 221 interest rates. Didn't we?
Yeah,
set that? Okay.
We already set that.
I thought
Sorry,
so.
that was a trying to do too many things at one
We're
time.
gonna need to go up in 2022.
Let's see.
Rates are gonna go up. Hang on to your seat. I think the economy's ready to roar.
Okay.
Pent up demand.
Yes, I think so. It's
Yeah.
whether that's long-term or just short-term.
I don't know.
Oh, so then maybe we'll have to revisit, that other project that we're involved in. If there's so much pent-up demand.
Yep, we will. 2026.
Yeah.
Any other old or new business? for
Yes,
the
there was
LDC?
one that wasn't on the agenda that got added late. It was for a loan that we have, one of our loan customers, Masterson Holdings.
Yep.
Providing a potential extension. They had a balloon payment that is coming up. I had reached out regarding a short-term extension. They had basically wanted to do a restructuring. I sent out some notes in terms of what my thoughts were and just wondering what the board thought. Oh, okay.
I would follow your lead on this.
Why do they not want another balloon payment in 24 months? Because they're saying that COVID was the reason that they weren't able to take care of the obligation the way it was supposed to be. If we get out of COVID by 18 months, shouldn't they be able to do what they originally thought?
Yes, but if you can put off paying your debts, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, Do you see the liabilities that are on the balance sheet?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I'd like to be out in 18 months.
18 months,
24?
24. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I did not agree with going with another 10 years. That's one of the reasons we're in the crunch that we are, and why our brief flirtation with, 10-year notes amortized over 20 years. That's why I put a stop to that.
Right.
Probably not soon enough, but we've got like 4 or 5 of them that are crushing us with cash flow.
Right.
And this, in my opinion, is that we're not a long-term financier. We are short-term gap financier. And I think we should stick to it.
You look at what's in their checking account balance, you could say, pay us off.
Yes. Yeah, I just think the timing was bad because of the situation we're currently in.
Correct.
And so that's why I would do 2 to 3 years. And if you're comfortable with 2, I'm comfortable with 2.
So we have empathy, we understand the situation,
But
we need to turn our funds.
yeah, and that's what this is not our mission. We need to get that back so we can help somebody else. And they'll understand
We're
that.
not a long-term fixed rate lender.
Right.
Good.
Yep, so
We
You need a
started
motion on that?
5 years ago?
what's that?
How long ago did we start this loan?
This loan was a 2009 when you reviewed it, 10 when it closed.
Right, so they've already had the 10 years.
Yes, they've had 10 full years.
Correct.
Yes.
No, done in 2 more,
Okay.
because we're such good hearted.
Yeah, this is just a COVID related extension. Otherwise, nothing. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we need a motion on that, please.
Yes.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There we go. Okay, any other old or new business?
Yes, okay,
Come on, I'm
so,
hungry.
yeah, hopefully this will be easy, I know. But it's an important one that, we have to have because there's a deadline to it. Last month, I came in and told you that we got denied for the EDA revolving loan fund. And, we were asked to find our next funding stream for an RLF. And we basically have 2 options. One is to reapply to the EDA with the provision that we create a committee that the loan applications go through with all of the counties involved in that. And it's still the same amounts, so $2.2 million with us putting in $200,000, which is a great match. And the other option is another USDA IRP. I reached out to our contact there and mentioned us putting in the $200,000 for $750,000. Keeping it under $1 million gives us a little bit of extra points, I think, right, Glenn? That's
Yes.
the reason for that amount.
Okay.
Which is still, 20% match. And he said, right now, there aren't a lot of applications in because the bank financing interest rates are so low. So we have a pretty good feeling about that. The deadline for this round is March 31st. So, I wanted to feel you out, see which way you wanted to go. There is something else also in the works. Can I say this part out loud?
Yeah.
Okay. I got a call from Jen Gregory, Southern Tier 8, because they are our authority with federal grants. When she found out that this was denied, she was, kind of upset at the EDA. And when she found out about everything, and she kind of wanted us to reapply for it with the provision of the committee in there, because she has these plans of the Delaware County LDC taking over the Steed Fund at some point in the maybe possible near future. So it'd be nice to have the mechanisms there. But yesterday, she has to figure some stuff out to see if that's even possible first. And so yesterday, before I came here, I asked how big of a deal is it? And I'm sorry if this is a red herring, but she said, probably not that big of a deal if we choose the USDA IRP over the EDA, because she just likes the Delaware County LDC. She thinks we have the best capacity to take on the Steed Fund than kind of most other counties right now. Now, that being said, the Steed Fund isn't great. We asked for the numbers as of December 2019, pre-COVID. They had $900,000 out dispersed and about $600,000 on hand. Since then, they turned the steed fund into a COVID emergency relief fund. That is no payments for the first 12 months, no interest payments. And then after that 12 months, it is 75% of prime interest rate. And from what I know, that steed fund is completely depleted. So you can imagine about $600,000 of that are those terms. And they probably gave a pretty good deferment of all the rest of the payments. It's a 1.5.
Yeah, so just
million.
add in just a little bit more. So this is a Southern Tier 8 fund. They essentially have Broome County IDA administering that. Tom Gray was the one who handled it for Broome County IDA. He's going to retire. This is in anticipation of his retiring. Broome County most likely saying, no, we don't want it, and them looking for a new home for it.
And this is another region. This is 8 counties. And we're on the very east end of this. Broome, Shenango, Cortland, Delaware, Otsego, Schoharie, Tioga, and Tompkins.
Is there any advantage to us to administer? I mean, do we get paid to administer?
It looks like there were minimal fees involved in it, although that was probably this. They also gave us a history of the fund. It looked like more that was probably early on in the administration of it. I don't think there's any fees. What it would potentially do is it would give us the ability to collect on, $1.5 million of outstanding loans. And but any collections we'd have to make available to
All the counties.
And one thing she did say is Broome County currently has a loan review committee that is made up of members. Bill used to serve on it. We would have to have that type of setup. But so we would have the potential to have that 1.5 million, although the first 5-10 years would solely be collections. Then administer it, but we'd have to administer it on an 8-county behalf. It's a little different than going the EDA route because we're at least not putting the money up front. I don't think it's any mistake that Broome County was administering this most recently, and about 80% of the loans were made in Broome County. So while it is marketed, who's pocketed in has a big say. So there is some advantage there. But as far as the new, more immediate issue about getting loan funds in, us being the only ones putting it in, and they're wanting to see some regional thing of this, we're going to do 100% of the work for 20% of the benefit at 100% of our cost. You can't tell me that's a good deal.
Right.
I'd rather go the IRP route, get another $750,000 loan, even though we still have to put in the same amount of money. It's 100% our investment, 100% our benefit.
Right. And there's a reason that Broome County doesn't want to do this anymore.
Right. And
Yeah.
we're gonna.
Well, again, this Broome County took this on before there was the direction of getting the IDAs out of the lending business.
Yeah, but when you look at it, I bet you most of the loans for the whole thing are to Broome County.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it's the biggest metropolitan area in this
Right.
region, so. And we're gonna have to have more staff to maintain the work.
Oh, no, Evan was talking about he'd like to up his hours.
Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah. He'd like to move to a 60-hour week with no extra compensation.
That's the benefit
I
of
was-
being on salary.
Exactly. I was
Yeah.
ready to sign off on that.
He's
So,
just
yeah, I
gonna
think
submit it to Tabitha and say, here, Tab, you
Let's
do
go to
it.
our
USDA.
best effort is, and reward right now is the USDA IRP.
Yeah, I agree.
That's priority.
Okay, and now that does have a short turnaround. And we didn't know until just this week that the deadline was coming up. And so is it too quick to say, would the LDC approve us submitting an application with a $200,000 contribution from the IDA?
I'll make that motion if we need a motion, all right?
Yes, we will, because I'll have to write up a
Yeah.
commitment.
Second,
Second.
No,
Okay.
Mike got the
Hey,
second.
Mike got
Make sure
it.
you get that, Kathy.
Mike's on the board.
I want to see how we collect money for Broome County and then give it all back to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
them
that one, we're,
over the next 5 years.
yeah, that one we're not doing, yeah.
All in favor?
I,
Any other old or new business? You sure, Evan?
Yeah, thank you for, extending that.
Bruce?
one more thing.
Yeah.
One more thing. I make the motion, we adjourn.
Okay, thank you so much, and let's have some lunch.
I commend
You gonna
you fellas